So there's flip sides to everything. So like other parents can provide a little animosity between you and your kid, but then there's the times I can watch Max play with his nephew Ryder. Jimmy stops to talk to me the other day. Max is the most polite kid we've ever encountered. Solid. It's always please and thank you. So like I can argue with him, me and him, that when I say come inside at 7, he doesn't want to and he talks back. But I also know he understands that when he's out of that house,
there you go.
Although he's 6, he is a reflection of me and he behaves properly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of okay knowing that on the outside facing world,
100%.
respectable.
But it's on us to make sure we stay firm because if I allow him to get shitty with me,
he's going to get shitty with others.
He's going to get shitty outside.
No, you're right.
So I'm comfortable to fight that battle internally and at home as long as he's showing the growth and the progress outside. And it's like wrestling.
I was going to say.
You got to put in the work in the room for it to translate to the mat. So my wrestling room is me parenting my son inside, and his match is him being out and being a polite little young man.
Guys, before we get started, just want to let you know, if you have any questions for us, please click the link below. You could ask us any questions via email, and we'll get back to you by the end of the episode. All right, guys, we are here with episode 33 of the Modern Man's Podcast. We got very special guest and good friend, Mike Hier. My friend Rich Gilner would refer to somebody like Mike as the mat tape. And he said that every program needs somebody like who's the mat tape. And what that means is the guy who keeps it all together. And Mike, thankfully, has come into my life. We've known each other for a long time, but he's come into my life and been a really big impact on me. Selfishly, really helped me see my gift with wrestling. And he's really, really stepped up and done all the behind the scenes things for the wrestling club. But, you know, more than just wrestling, he's a great dad, great husband, provider, and just a really, really good person. So we're really happy to have Mike here today. It's been a long time coming trying to get him on, and we're glad he's here.
And a lot of people recommended he come on, too.
Yeah,
it wasn't
sure.
just us seeing him, you know, and his potential and what he had to offer as a guest.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of people that we've talked to.
There shouldn't ever be someone that, hey, can I get on your podcast, You should always be, hey, this person would be great on there, word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
So you should never kind of be asking, because then it's a little...
Well, you've touched a lot of people, though. I mean, just look at the program on Sundays and now Tuesdays. You show up before everybody. You're putting in the work. You're putting in the time.
Unreal.
You're disciplining parents that are loud and unruly during practice, myself included in that. But you're making an impact just allowing him to do his thing. And
it's really unreal. And it's the same thing with Predator. I mean, between you and Scalise, like it takes a whole darn community. And there were so many years there, maybe it was my own personal thoughts, but I felt like I just needed help. And like, I wasn't willing to ask. And like, no one saw how rattled I was to like reach their hand out.
Yeah.
Where Mike and Scalise and some of these other guys have just come into these youth programs and just been, hey, whatever you need. Yeah. You guys are working the scoreboard.
It's not just, it's for the kids. Yeah. It's for the program. It's for the coaches. There's a lot going on, not just wrestling. Just, you got a lot going on in life. Everyone knows parents, fathers, you have other kids as well, right? So I want to be involved in things. You know, I know others want to be involved in things. There's different levels that I think some folks want to be involved. Some people like to watch from the outside and, push their kid in and they don't feel comfortable getting into it, right? Then there's the folks behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's where I kind of excel. Like I see the front end and the back end to see what needs to happen in the middle and make it happen, right? Yep. I see if coach is stressing, they need help over here, help them out. Whether it's logistics of moving mats, taping mats, whatever it is, just hop in and go. There's never a, hey, should I do this? You just do it.
Yeah.
And take, constructive criticism and move along.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing to be involved.
It really is.
It's going to be over before you know it. So
I know.
I'm going to be old and sitting watching other kids.
I know.
Not be able to bend down and put the
well, like
tape
Petey
on,
said, you're like the OG father in this room right now, especially.
Yeah.
Chase is 12. My son's only 6. Mace is 9. So if anybody has a grasp of how fast it's over, not that it's over yet for you, but has so much further along than we're on
a cusp. We're definitely on a cusp of things right now. So I have 2 kids, right? A daughter and a son. Addison's 10, Chase is 12. And I swear a couple years ago, Chase was just graduating kindergarten.
Yeah. Right.
K through 5, boom.
Has a light bulb gone off on your mind over the course of the last few years, or if you always had this like innate like understanding that it's not going to be like this forever?
I think prior to kids, I mean, my upbringing, I had the most normal upbringing. Dare I say, perfect family. Mom and dad, they both stayed together. Luckily, mom was real estate agent, stayed home, very flexible, kind of helped the kids out. So I had a great foundation to build off of. Went to college, had my aunts and uncles growing up on my mom's side, they're very involved. So I had a very, very positive upbringing. Some struggles along the way with family matters, things like that, but, did the whole normal school thing. I wouldn't say I was a great student. I wouldn't say I wasn't an athlete. You're not going to find my name on any walls. I don't even follow professional sports. Everyone kind of busts my balls a little bit because, like, oh, who's your favorite baseball team? I'm like, I don't know.
Yankees.
Who's your favorite football team? I was like, I don't know. I'll go to your Super Bowl party.
Yeah.
Right? I don't watch professional sports. We didn't grow up in that sports scene.
Mm-hmm.
So we just kind of really had family time with the time that we had, which was great. We sat down for dinner every night at the dinner table.
Yeah.
That extended into my life now. As an adult prior to kids, my wife and I sat down for dinner at the table. We didn't sit at a couch and watch TV. Mm-hmm. That extended into our family life with the kids, where it's every night we're at a dinner table, no TV on background, no devices, and that's the core time to kind of get out.
Now, are you able to make that work with all of the athletics that you guys are involved in now? I know it's very difficult.
Especially Jen's very busy too.
Yeah, it's tough.
We try to best our ability. Baseball, we got to be there sometimes at 6. We'll have a floating schedule where oftentimes we eat early or eat late or an off schedules. But someone is with a kid at a table. Whether my wife is kind of fostering Addie with soccer because she takes her that. I do baseball and wrestling. So it's either Addie and Jen, me and Chase. Sometimes they're picking up plates, we're putting plates down, but they know we're always at a table and surrounded where we can kind of talk. So that has always been our mantra, and it's not even questions. We'll have movie nights where we'll do dinner in front of TV, but it's
tough finding balance though.
No, it is.
And I'm blessed in the sense that over time, Petey, and now by extension of Pete, I met, we got real close closer over time through Pete. I have some really good examples in parents or fathers especially that have kids that are older than my son, that have been doing it longer than me. Pete says I've only been a father, talking about himself, for 9 years.
That's it.
I've only been doing it 6.
Yep.
So I can look to Pete for guidance. I can look to a guy like you for guidance. And being able to see the balances that you guys are able to provide to your kids, it gives me hope, because I get spread thin and I'm now trying to make time to be at everything I can for my kids, because time does fly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every day is important and valuable. And I told you, Sundays, I'm trying to take that one day for me to stay away from my phone. And what kind of example am I setting if the family time that we do have on a Sunday, where it's kind of a rest day for us, I'm staring at my phone.
Especially when they get their phones. And I'm not saying that I'm some abstaining from the phone guy by any means, but I have been thinking, like, shoot, man, like, before you know it, Mason's gonna have a cell phone.
That's
and
a
if
game
I'm out
changer.
here with
That's a pivotal point. That's a pivotal point in a kid's life.
Exactly.
So think about when I had beepers, right? We had that was a cool thing.
I
wish beepers came back. That would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But so growing up, as I feel like I'm at that pivotal point right now, where middle school, things start to get real. Our rule was middle school, you get a phone. So kids are getting phones in 2nd grade.
Oh, I have
third
neighbors.
grade. I'm like, and then
it's crazy.
They're walking out to the bus stop. They're walking around the block. They're all on the phones. I'm like, man, what? I feel like they're really missing out on things, or they're just kind of walking, not talking, and they're on their phones. How many times do you go to dinner and you see people at a dinner table and their kids are like this and they're not even talking?
Well, I'm guilty of that. We'll give the younger kids an iPad. Like Josephine's 2.5, or turning 3 in June now, rather. We'll give her an iPad still at dinner just to occupy her, because she's little. Max understands. We're out in public. We're at a restaurant. It's time to behave, and But I see kids I know that are Max's age, 1st grade, kindergarten, whatever. They have these watches, which is cool, I guess, so your parents can talk to you and they can track you. But honestly, I don't.
We used to have internet plugged in the wall. Now the internet is
right
there.
It's so different.
The trouble I've heard from stories from teachers, I have friends that are grammar school teachers, 4th, 5th, it all stems around group chat, Snapchat, all that stuff. And the things that I hear, I'm like,
there's a lot of bullying going on in there.
Bullying, not even that, just the talk. Like,
it's crazy how they talk to each other. No. Max has an iPad. All my kids have iPads. And I didn't realize when we set up the iPads, I'm not tech savvy. I didn't realize that it wasn't just Wi-Fi only. So he can receive text messages, and my neighbors put him in a group chat, which is fine. He doesn't know how to use it, whatever. But I read these text messages, and it's like kind of off the wall. What's going on.
Well, these young people these days, everything has been streamlined. I mean, my parents didn't allow cursing in the house. But when I would go to my neighbor's house, they cursed all the time, so I'd be cursing like a truck driver.
Yeah, but you knew how to throttle back at home.
Yeah, I knew how to throttle it back, but with the young people now, everything is streamlined. Like we had flip phones, we had internet plugged into the wall. We'd have to like close the door and go scroll through the internet and see whatever the hell was out there. Now it's just everything is right in their face, and it's like up to us to like really monitor that and
we
like
be
that annoying parent. Like I don't even care, dude. Like I came to terms like when I first became a dad, it was like this best friend vibe. Like I was so grateful. My whole life changed. I love you so much. And now I'm like, damn, dude, you're halfway to 18. How much is me being a loving best friend gonna prepare you for real life?
It's not.
Right.
And like that's where I'm trying to.
It's not. So me and Max
So you got to throw that back too, though, because like I was saying when we first came in, right? So when Chase is number one kid, right? So Jen's pregnant. We were waiting till he was born till the baby was born, so we found out what it was, right?
Right.
Chase popped out. I seen the twig and bear. I was like, yes, this is a boy. I'm most happy. I would have been happy either way, but. The reason I was so happy is because, my name dies, right? I'm the last hire of the family, so I needed a boy so I was like, all right, let me get that one done. Thank God my name's going to go on, right?
Yeah.
So that one got done, and he was our central point for 2 years till we had baby number 2, right? So the first 2 years, you're wading through waist deep of shit, pardon my friend, trying to figure it out.
Exactly.
Right? 2 to 5 is where they start getting personality, and they're super, super innocent, and all of a sudden school hits. No matter what you do as a parent, that kid's going to be experiencing other kids and what their parents do.
Yep.
So I'm not saying all parents are bad, but they raise kids different. Same thing with the phones.
My values are not the same.
Exactly. That innocence slowly is going to disappear, right?
Yeah.
I have a coworker at work, real close with her. We talk about kids all the time. And I was explaining, hey, every time Chase moved up to a new grade, I was nervous about what teacher he's gonna get. This current teacher's so great. He has good kids in his class. Same thing with her. She's explaining that now. Her son's in kindergarten, and they have such a great group of kids. I was like, you know why? I was like, they're all innocent still.
Right.
They haven't lost that innocence until they move into older ages. It takes a minute to realize that, and all of a sudden you talk to kids, and it's like, school is tough. A lot of parents homeschool because they don't want to deal with that.
Right.
Times have changed.
They really have.
That
right now, Max
disappears
thinks
quickly.
everybody he says hi to is his best friend.
Yeah.
That's the innocence.
But that's what I was going to say, and that's what it is.
But you got to build that up.
And he's got to realize that you can be nice to everybody, but not everybody has to be nice back to you.
Yep.
The world isn't sunshine and rainbows, and just because little Jimmy is doing this doesn't mean it's okay for you. And we had this discussion the other day. I wanted him to come inside. It was Sunday night. It was like, 7 o'clock. He had to come in, eat, get showered, and get ready for bed. He had school Monday. Everybody else is. I don't care what everybody else is doing.
Not my kid.
That's the line.
That's not my kid.
That's the line. I don't care what everybody else is doing.
Only when I care about is you.
That's not my son.
Yep.
Get in the house. And if I say it again, I'm going to throw your bicycle in the garbage.
Yeah.
But, we're at that point now where other parents and their policies, which aren't drastic, are affecting or impacting my son because little Jimmy's allowed out later. Well, I'm not little Jimmy's parent, and I'm sure little Jimmy's parents think different about some things we do.
Yeah.
This is my house, my rules.
I feel like our parents were having those same type of combos.
150%.
But I think when I was a kid, I'll tell you right now, I remember clear to this day. I was at my friend's house. His name was Aaron. My dad told his parents, he steps out of line, feel free to
We have that rule in my house.
Put him back in line. And I got paddled one time by a neighbor.
They
came from the South. They literally had a paddle. I had to write my name on it and everything. I got paddled, and I was like, all right, well, I guess they weren't fucking around.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? There's flip sides to everything. So, like, other parents can provide a little animosity between you and your kid. But then there's the times, like the other day, my neighbor Jimmy, who is a great guy. I think I told you got to link up with him. He's big into running marathons and all them. He saw you at what was the half one you did?
Asbury.
Oh, in Asbury?
He saw you at the half marathon. Him and his wife had texted me, and I told him I got to get you guys together. But Max is at Jimmy's house. He lives, if you're in my front yard, directly across on the opposite side of the development. I can watch Max play with his nephew Ryder, who's in kindergarten, and they get along great. Jimmy stops to talk to me the other day. Max is the most polite kid we've ever encountered.
Solid.
It's always please and
that.
thank you. So, like, I can argue with him, me and him, that when I say come inside at 7, he doesn't want to and he talks back. But I also know he understands that when he's out of that house,
there you go.
Although he's 6, he is a reflection of me, and he behaves properly.
There you go.
It's parent-teacher conferences. I swear they have the wrong kid every time. Every single time. Oh, she listens so well. She's so... I'm like,
To who?
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of okay knowing that on the outside facing world,
100%.
respectable.
Yeah.
Then they get that energy out on moms and dads and brothers.
Yeah, it's gonna
Kind of
that
okay with
dynamic's
it.
gonna
You
be
gotta
there.
kind of-
But it's on us to make sure we stay firm.
Yep.
Because if I allow him to get shitty with me,
He's
and
gonna
talk
get
back,
shitty with
he's
others.
going to
Yeah.
get shitty outside.
No, you're right.
So I'm comfortable to fight that battle.
No, you're right.
Internally and
Yep.
at home, as long as he's showing the growth and the progress outside.
Yeah.
It's like wrestling.
I was gonna say-
you got to put in the work in the
Yep.
room for it to translate to the mat. So my wrestling room is me parenting my son inside, and his match is him being out and being a polite little young man.
Yeah, there's been plenty of conversations that I've had with parents, and they're talking specific to wrestling, and I'll be like, well, how does it go at parent-teacher conferences?
Yeah.
Oh, it goes great. He's super good, and it's not, the parents aren't approaching me about behavior. They're approaching me about wins and losses and technique and
Doesn't
different things.
mean shit.
And I'll say, hey, how's it going over there? Oh, it's going great. Oh,
Change your
so
focus.
you're saying
Yeah.
you have a great
Refocus,
kid
refocus.
who's doing well in school, he's working hard, he's respectful, he's polite, the teachers love him.
High five. Good job.
That's it. What more are
way
we
to go.
looking
you,
for
you
here?
have
Yeah.
won the
Yeah.
proverbial wrestling match.
Yep.
You are
100%.
you are winning right now.
Yeah. So so things are going great in the classroom. Let's be a little bit grateful that he's finding some struggle out
Yeah.
here on the wrestling mat. But Mike, besides that strong family dynamic, because I see a lot of you and I seem to talk on the daily at this point, and I feel like every time I talk to you, you're sending me a picture that you guys are either out to dinner together, you're at
He's
track.
like Frunkle. He's a Frunkle,
Yeah.
I feel like. And I thought about this the other day. I'm like, man, if I'm texting this guy as much and I see all the people, I was like, he must get 1,000 text messages a day. I was like, there's times where I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm going to give him a break.
No, send the text. If I don't respond right away, I got my hands full as it is.
Pete
But send the
thrives
text.
with that stuff though. Like
Yeah.
conversely to me, Pete is super outgoing, where I internalize a lot of stuff. So like I don't talk to a ton of people. I'm very reserved. At work I have to talk to a million people all day, which Pete does as well, but he does it more gracefully. And he's much more opening and welcoming than I am. Which he has, being around him and talking to him so much has rubbed off on me, where I'm more open to speak
we
to
heard that
people.
last night, Mike.
Listen, we had a great time. Riley Wrestling Club isn't just for the kids; it's
I
for the
get
parents
it.
to get a breather
I get
and
it.
socialize.
We're going to give you your own space. You'll be all right.
Exactly.
I'll move tables into the hall next week.
No,
don't
no, no.
worry,
No,
don't
I'm just
worry. I don't
playing.
have to get disciplined.
I'm just playing. No, I'm glad that you're socializing. I've almost shifted back a little bit. Like I saw this video that basically said that the savage in the room is not the loudest guy. So I'm trying to find my inner savage, and we went to a Kentucky Derby party, and I ran a 5K on Saturday morning. I had a 6:19 mile time. I felt really good. We went to my cousin's shower, which was awesome. It was a baby shower with like all the family involved, which was a great time. And then we went to this Kentucky Derby party. Not drinking, I was kind of just quiet.
Yeah.
And I was thinking how much things have changed, because maybe I was insecure at other times where I thought I needed to talk a lot, or I thought I like longed for convo, and I was cool just being quiet. Like
It's
if
okay
people
to
wanted
watch.
to come up to me, that's fine. But like I sure as heck wasn't the loudest guy. I wasn't, screaming, and I was kind of judging some of the other people that were like the super loud cat, and I'm just like, nah, I'm kind of
Yeah, but in a
leaning
lot of
into
those-
my inner savage right now.
In a
and
lot
I'm
of
just
those
gonna
settings, though, people are
be
drinking
okay being
and-
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, they get loud or whatever, but it's funny because we provide a lot of balance to each other.
Yeah.
Because previously you were talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Previously I was talking to nobody, and then I
Right.
got really self-conscious because a lot of people told me I look unapproachable. And
Yeah. We've had that
RBF,
combo.
So, like, all right, now
Which
I
is still
start-
surprising to me that you're surprised by that, but that's
I
fine.
am, because I genuinely think I'm like a very kind-hearted guy.
You
but
are.
regardless, so I start hearing that. We get Dave on. We're talking about meditation. I try to tap into that. And like, I've tried to modify myself to appease other people. And I had
Forget
this
that.
realization
No,
this weekend, and I said it to my wife. I am a fucking animal.
Right.
And I'm comfortable to be alone. I'm more than happy to go to a party, sit by myself, not drink and not talk. I'm good. If you want to talk, though,
Yeah, all
By all
good.
means,
I'll
come on
talk
in.
your
All
fucking
good.
ears
Yep.
off.
For sure.
But I don't need to go out of my way to, take that resting bitch face off. Like, I'm good with it. If you're
Right.
intimidated by that, that's
Yeah.
your insecurities.
Right,
So,
right.
like,
There you
now I'm coming back to a point where all the self-reflection and self-improvement we've done in this room and I've done on my own, not made me somebody I didn't want to be, but I lost a little bit of who I was.
Right.
So like now I'm transitioning to blend the two extremes.
Perfect.
And I'm really happy to take that journey and figure out where it all meshes together.
Yeah, but you talked about with the wrestling friends and family going to tournaments and meeting new people, right? Huge. Not just wrestling, right? That's any sports.
Yeah.
Baseball.
You're building bonds.
So what I'm seeing as kids get older and they get more involved in different sports, you're gaining new friends.
100%.
100 people that you've never met before, and all of a sudden you're with them every weekend, and things are going great. You're like, wow, I really connect with this guy, and things are great. So that brings you out. So that's part of that life journey of kids getting older, being involved in sports. That's something huge that I've found. Listen, I'm not watching professional sports. I'm like right on the end of my limit of being able to coach, right? I coach Little League baseball.
But you do a great job,
I'm a bat
bro.
boy. I'm a wrestling mat guy at wrestling. So just there, I'm about to hit that stop sign of my ability to teach my son and have to pass that off, which is a sad thing, but it is. It's nice to be involved, which is great, but seeing him gain friends is also me gaining friends.
Yeah,
Every year we have a baseball party at the end of the season. Parents all come. We all hang out. It's great. I talk to these guys all the time.
Yeah, but you're very
But that
approachable.
helps you develop, though, too, by getting your kid involved.
Yeah, but a lot of
develop.
these, but like I said, a lot of people, and it's only come out like since we started the podcast, and people are hearing me maybe on the stuff we share on Instagram or whatever, where people are opening up and telling me that like they were afraid to approach me. And like, I don't know why. I mean, I genuinely don't. Like, I'm like a pretty good guy. You're super approachable, and you're approachable, and I have to put off a better vibe, I guess. And
don't worry about it.
No,
don't worry about it.
But that's what I'm saying. So for
that's if someone wants to
5
talk
months,
to you that doesn't care about going.
But that's
to
what
a
I'm saying.
big,
5
strong,
months,
scary man.
I was trying to change who I am.
Yeah, don't.
I'm happy to be an animal because that's
fine.
That's
Embrace
what I
that.
am. That's who made me who I am today at 39. I just want to refine it.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. Youth sports breaks down a ton of barriers. Listen, we wouldn't be
Group
sitting
sports,
here if
I
it
never
wasn't
would've met
for
you.
it.
I never would've met
and
you.
especially, PD calls. We got to go down south and pick up wrestling mats at 6 a.m.
That's right. Mike was with us.
We're in the car.
Yeah.
And, that's the shit that makes people close. Now, I might not talk to you every day. But, Mike, I give you my word. You call me 3 o'clock in the morning. You're like,
Yeah,
yo,
man.
we got to go.
Yeah.
I'm coming because I'm not saying we went to war going to pick up wrestling mats, but I respect that you showed up.
100%.
Yeah.
So, I was saying that you're always sharing like these family oriented, like it was even Saturday night we were talking and you guys were playing categories or something like that. What was the game you guys were playing just recently?
I don't know. We played
something. You guys are playing board games or something, like a family board game.
We were playing Malt Madness. We were playing all these crazy games that kids bring out, and they're like, one of them shut the TV off. They're like, let's play board games. Oh, we're playing Uno. Just
That's awesome.
Yeah, you guys are always doing stuff like that.
And that doesn't happen today.
Yeah, you guys are always doing stuff like that. You guys are always doing your boat trips. There's been a lot of really, really great family time. Aside from basically your parents showing you the way to have those family dinners, like what other things have gone on in your life or specific to being a parent that has really given you this really strong awareness to know that like Chase is only like 6 years from 18.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's funny.
It's just who you are at the core.
I don't think there's a know and a learn. You just have to experience and flow with it, right? So, I mean, my wife's a teacher. She's around kids. She was a head coach for gymnastics for 12 years. I always used to go to the matches and hang out. We were young and dumb, and I always used to hang out and watch her coach. And always around kids. And then, when we had our own kids, it just became second nature to want to be there for your kids and be a good parent, right?
Exactly.
So you learn from your parents. You learn from other parents. I have a great group of friends. I got about 12 or 14 friends from high school that we're in touch all the time. We have a big group text.
Nice.
We're on our 27th or 28th annual Thanksgiving Day football game at Newberry School. Every day since junior in high school, we've played football at Newberry.
That's
and we
awesome.
still show up. There was some old guy walking this year that he was calling the paper to come out and interview us because every year we're there. It was
who
amazing.
does something like that?
It was amazing.
Paul Lapori does something like that.
Yeah, they do that every year too.
Every
Since
year.
like 01.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So out of all those guys, we're still in touch. We trade stories with kids. Again, another one of my friends has high school kids, so he's going through a lot of trials, right? So he comes in. I had to discipline my kid, my son or daughter for XYZ, and we kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
But I learned from watching them. A lot of my friends have the same age, and we all just talk it out. You need that soundboard, that message for them to get ideas. You can't do this by yourself.
No.
It's so true.
No way. I
Takes
give
a
so
fucking
much credit
village.
to single parents these days.
Oh
man.
my God.
Holy moly.
Always have and now more than ever.
Huge.
You're right.
Well,
Just
especially when you're spread thin, like you said.
Imagine.
You guys go your separate directions. And I'm doing it now. I take Max, Mare takes Rosalie, whether it's gymnastics or cheer. I wouldn't be able to do it all by myself, and I know my wife wouldn't be able to do it all by myself. So
yeah, but those single parents, they figure
make
it
it
out
work,
somehow,
man.
in some way.
They get it done.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
even
I give
financially.
so much credit. Exactly.
Even financially to be able to figure it out.
It's tough, bro.
So much respect.
So your friends, we have these friends from high school. Like I said, we talk on the daily. We always send stupid memes back and forth, but sometimes we get deep conversation. You know, like you and I have sometimes, and that it just helps to have that soundboard. My wife and I are a completely different. We're a team, right? So her and I we've known each other since Newberry School.
Nice.
Got together in high school.
Nice.
You know, I could write a book about it and be a boring love story.
Yeah.
But you are the definition of high school sweethearts.
Literally, not even grammar school. We both went to Newberry, both went to Howell High School, got together in Howell High School, got through college together. We had times apart and things like that.
Right.
She is now a teacher at Howell High School. Howell really sucked us in. So I've been in this town since I was a year old and straight OG.
Yeah.
But we have those roots here.
Yeah.
And we just kind of lean on each other. She is the rock of the family, the scheduler. I call her my scheduler, right?
I love it.
Her and I always bounce things off each other, make sure we're both in the know. I appreciate her every day. I can't explain it's hard for me to say those words to her face because I get emotional.
Yeah, but she knows.
It's tough.
Yeah,
she does
you
know,
could
but
prove it, but you could also say it if it's on your mind and on your heart.
Yeah,
you know.
1000%.
Yeah, but I'm not good at that. Like I'm not good at verbalizing emotion.
I could say to both of you that I love my wife so much. She is my heart.
I know.
To her, I'm like, I can't get it out.
I get that, bro.
You know, it's a weird thing. You know, especially we've been
I
someone
know,
for
but do
27
you
years.
guys long?
She knows it.
Yeah.
And it's not like.
Do you guys long for different things from your wife that you would like to hear from them? Because, you know, as guys, we feel like we're doing a lot, even if it's a good balance between our partner. Like as guys, we almost kind of long for these things. But my point was, if you are longing to hear something or feel something, and it is on your mind and your heart, then dude, you better get out of here and you better let her know it's on your darn mind.
I think that's like a fine balance, right? So my wife knows who I am, and you guys got to tone down 39-year-old Billy. She knew Billy when I was
she's
when I was
probably
wild,
This is a
bro.
cakewalk for her.
Yeah, she's probably confused sometimes.
But I'm very consistent in how I am. Like I'm very not emotional. I have one real emotion, and it's aggression. So like you're not gonna catch me crying and holding my wife's hand. It's never been that way. It never will be that way. She understands I'm not that lovey-dovey, I love you, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah type. And she also knows that I don't need that.
Right.
I don't need to walk in and have her say thank you for going to baseball practice or thank you for getting this done. I just don't need it. I'm not built that way. What I do need, though, is for her to stop yelling at me about where I put my fucking sneakers. That's the only thing I ask
You know
for.
what, though? But that's
It's the little things.
It's a little thing.
Yeah.
So a couple things I learned from my parents growing up and my mother in her old ages. Stupid little things matter. The shoes on because she's got so much on her plate with the kids, with other things. Yeah. Moving those shoes would be like breath of fresh air.
Big relief for her.
So a big stupid
but
thing.
I do everything else. I just leave the shoes by the back door because I take the dogs out all the time. So I don't want to have to walk to the
Get
shoe
another
closet.
pair.
I was gonna say, get another pair,
I have
dude.
two pairs. I have one in the front door, one in the back door.
I do
And
have
that's
that.
like every generic dad before us had the New Balances to wear to the
They would
barbecue
put
and the New
the
Balances to
granddad
mow the lawn.
She
Exactly.
moves all of them. I'll
Right.
put the slippers at the door because I have a nice pair of slippers that'll just slide on. Take the. They should put some away.
Better go out barefoot, dog.
I got to start grounding.
You might as well.
It's those little things that matter, right? So she knows. We grew up together. She knows. We know each other inside out. All the stupid things I do, she has full trust in me and buying houses, buying all these cars, all these stupid things.
Was she into cars?
She's into whatever
because
Mike's
I gotta
into.
tell you,
funny
but
joke
Mike's,
was- the funny
Mike's
joke of
Mustang
her-
is one of the baddest cars around. Like just a cool factor of 100.
I feel like she lets him be him, which is nice.
The funny thing about that was when we first started dating in high school, I had a Mustang, and the joke was she would date me for the car,
Right.
and it just kind of stayed. It was a joke, but she's been in the car seat with me for years. I mean,
That's how my wife is.
She has her own car, which I have to fix. I need a crate motor.
I got you, bro.
So I got to get that. The girls have a car and I have a car, but I mean, she's been to car shows with me. She's been there while I'm sitting in the garage for hours. You know, disappear, brings me food. So she gets it because that's a whole nother community, like the wrestling community, the car community, and Billy knows this is huge.
Yeah. And
Anyone
you have
will
your
help
motocross community.
So here's. I know you guys focus on wrestling a lot, right? Because that's your
life. We can focus on cars right now if you want. It'll make my day.
Go, right? So there is great people in the wrestling community. Mm-hmm. There's great people in every community, I feel like. Exactly. The car community, the motocross community. I'll go to a race, something will happen, and there'll be 3 guys in there, change it, fix, they'll hop on it. Everyone's there to support you. Same thing with cars. You go out to a car meet, all of a sudden you're talking to someone you've never talked to your entire life, and now that's like my best friend. Yep. I have guys on my phone, I don't know the freaking name, but that's Joe Chevelle.
Yeah.
That's Mike Camaro. Like,
right.
But I know exactly who they are. But those communities are standalone, but it's not the community or the wrestling or the cars. People find good people.
Exactly.
100%.
Are pulled to each other.
So yeah, exactly.
What I like about the car community specifically is it doesn't matter if you're at least the part of the community I'm in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're in a McLaren or you're in a Honda Civic. You have that common ground, and no one's really a dick about it. No. Like, listen, I've met some arrogant guys.
There's plenty of dicks in all those communities.
Exactly.
There's the hammers in wrestling. There's a dick that's like, oh, Civic piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
Motocross, I got the brand new one. You got a 2012.
Yeah, like, I will talk to anybody, and the vast majority of people in the car community, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, bro, that Civic is awesome. In high school, I had one. I love the GSR swap, whatever it is. Now I'm driving, whatever. And you can find that common ground and not be a dick.
I think a lot of that is the energy frequency that you guys are riding at. Like that's why you're finding the good-hearted people in those communities.
No, because you could tell. I think I'm a good judge of character.
Yeah.
If I am around someone, I can see what they're talking. I mean, if I know I'm in that group, I know about cars. You can pick up on things like that, and you either separate yourself or you involve yourself.
Exactly.
It's the car community. It's easy to see who the self-indulgent wieners are, as to quote Gone in 60 Seconds, and then who's a true car guy. Because at its core, if you're a car guy, it doesn't matter what it is. You are a car guy, and I can appreciate anything from a Ferrari to a shitty little thing that somebody loves.
The guy at the Yugos?
He lived off of Darien, right?
Yeah. He raced those underdog racing.
Yeah, and I'd be able to talk to that guy for hours. But if you're a car guy and that's your passion, you can have a conversation with anybody. Now, if you're there just to flex and be like, oh, I got a Ferrari 488 over there. Yeah. This ain't shit. Hey, bro, maybe the car culture, maybe you're misunderstanding it, because this meet is not a flex.
I feel like there's a lot of pride amongst that. Like, you want to keep it clean. You did a lot of the work yourself. Like, there's this like respect thing for what you've done, and the people helping.
Well, that's the culture, right? So it's similar to wrestling. Like, I know this much about wrestling. Maybe I could teach my kids something at home, but look at my son as a car. I need other people to give me a little bit of guidance, whether that's Mike High or
even
Pete
the NASCAR
Riley.
guys, you can see it. They got the whole crew coming, changing tires.
I approach life like that. So, like, I want people around me that can provide value. Maybe I'm struggling one day with just life and I need to call Pete. Or maybe I have a car question and I could call Mike or somebody else I know in that community. The car community and the wrestling community, you can find a lot of parallels to what we need as men in life, because it's all about a support system.
Definitely.
And until recently, I didn't understand that. But it's okay to actually have to ask for help or advice or guidance and bounce ideas off of people that you trust and are comfortable with.
Exactly. And that kind of have your best interest in mind and know you at the core, because sometimes we can call the wrong person at the wrong time, get the wrong answer, and it's like, oh,
or they give you the completely wrong vibe.
Day, right?
Yeah, or that.
There's a whole different one. There's many nights I spent in the garage up to 2 a.m. A good friend of mine, Mike, and we're both Mustang guys growing up. We've spent hours in the garage just kind of turning wrenches, hanging out, bullshit and talking, and that's where things start to come out, and a lot of things were solved, not only around cars, but around life.
Yeah, sure. 100%.
And I feel like it's similar
to... you sit there and talk, things turn left and right, and all of a sudden, before you know, you haven't touched a car in 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there.
The project didn't get... That's why 3/4 of car projects sit unfinished.
You got the tarp on it.
Yeah, it's just sitting, and they're like, I'll get to it next week.
Yeah,
and you have the
know
best
what a commitment it's going to be.
Yeah, and then you wind up, like you said, sitting there with somebody that you could be vulnerable with.
Yeah.
And fuck the car. I mean, the car was the purpose that brought you guys together, but now you're dealing with life.
For sure. And I feel like you personally, Mike, when you set your mind to something, you come through, like, what you did at that investment property was ridiculous. Like,
but
you turned into Miguel.
I had the same.
That was wild.
I had help
that
there
was
too, though.
Wild,
the same guys that helped me with the car, Mike, my friend Mike Scalise, they both showed up. Everyone showed up. because they want to help you out, right? So they spent hours there with me as well, helping out, which I truly appreciate. You know, brother-in-law showed up. There was plenty of nights where I'm there till 12, 1 o'clock by myself, just getting stuff done, which was nice to have alone time to help think. But I mean, just for the business end of it, you know, it's a rental, whatever. But doing the work yourself is something to say about doing stuff with your hands, right?
I'm sure.
So growing up, my dad was blue collar. He wanted me to go to college. You know, I wanted to go to the military. He wouldn't let me. He went to Vietnam. He's like, no, you're going to school. So my uncles and all that stuff, they brought me to construction sites to help get work. They wanted me to experience what hard work is.
Yeah.
So that's where they instilled in me, this is what you have to do to make money. You want to go to school to not bust your ass every day. You know, they helped me learn that. But on top of that, you know, my one uncle got a rental property, helped him renovate that when I was a kid. I helped build my brother-in-law's house in Millstone, my uncle's house in Pennsylvania. Growing up, as I was doing that, I'd tell my friends, like, what do you mean you built a house? I was like, built a house. Like, what do you mean? I was like,
Mike Hire, jack of all trades.
So you just do it, right?
Yeah.
You try something. If you fuck it up, then you pay someone to do it.
Yeah,
right?
there you
so
go.
Our fathers try to distance us a little bit. It may have distanced us a little too much from doing the manual type stuff, right? I'm trying to bring that back with Chase.
Good.
I'll be out there, like I do all my own brakes and stuff in the car. I'll be in the garage, get up on the lift, and Chase comes out there. I'm like, let's go, and I'm teaching him. When my kids are ready to drive, they're both going to know how to change a tire.
Do you know what's crazy? How many people that are starting to drive in the last 5, 6 years
I was just going to say,
have
your
no
business
idea.
is probably driving on the towing end of it because the kids don't know what to do.
They have
sure.
Even a concept
I had a
that
friend
they
of mine
can do it.
that got a flat, and I pull into the parking lot, and he's like, oh, I'm going to call AAA. I was like, for what? He's like, oh, I got a flat. I was like, why don't you change it? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, just change it. He goes, where I got the tire from? I'm like, oh my God. It's underneath.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. When I was,
we got to rebuild that core value.
I think there's a monster gap, so I think ultimately we're going to get back to it. Yeah.
My dad used to make fun of me. When I came to work, when he opened, I was still in high school, but I got into cars real heavy when I was like 15 or 16. And he used to joke with me like, I'll give you some respect the day I see you change a tire. I changed a tire that day. Then it was when you can figure out how to do brakes, I'll give you some respect and some courtesy. Then it was, you know, he set these goals. Now he's joking with me, but I took it serious. Yeah. So like now I'm 16 years old. I'm working in his shop. I'm competent, especially for a 16-year-old. I could do brakes. I could perform some levels of diagnostic at 16 that most people weren't equipped with. But that doesn't really exist today. No. And the Dev Perez's of the world are so far from the majority because Devin is trying to learn a skill and Devin's trying to figure things out that will provide him a life function later in life.
Definitely.
Most kids are like blind to it. They don't even know how to check their oil.
You know, which he was telling us last night, he's building a safety net right now.
He should be.
He knows that he can go that route, but he's trying to shoot for more and higher. And then we built like an additional safety net. He was talking with the guidance counselors. He's got a lot within him. I actually compared him to Rudy yesterday. I'm like, dude, you're kind of like Rudy, man. You know, he's like, but he only got in the game one time.
But forget about
but I think Rudy's really successful in life.
Yeah.
Like,
he kept at it. But forget about the long term of it being a career.
Yeah.
Just look at the skill set that it's providing and the fact that he's willing to work for it. So there's not many kids his age that are willing to come in and get dirty.
I know.
You know, Dev, God bless him. Every time he comes in, he looks like I got to hose him off in the back before I send him home to his mother.
So you're learning a skill, though, but at the same time, in this day and age where everything's so freaking expensive, it gives you a chance to save some bucks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
The amount of money I saved on doing my own brakes, doing anything in my house, that's hundreds of dollars that I can put towards
literally hundreds of dollars. And people don't realize that. People still think brakes are $99. No. You're going to spend $99 on the parts.
$5.99.
And then you're going to pay me to put them in or one of my guys to put them in. Labor is not cheap anymore. I mean, you go to a dealer, it could be $200 an hour.
Yep.
You know,
but I could put that money towards other resources or building a nest egg for my kids or these investment and anything. And it's just something else to put in your pocket.
But you also enjoy doing it. I hope Devin builds that outlet for him because for me, automotive in general is a calming factor for me. Whether it's hanging out in the shop or, you know, for me to decompress, my favorite thing is to get behind the wheel of a car and drive. And drive. But I hope Dev is building those pieces for later in life because I'm sure you find some peace sitting there changing your brake components or whatever.
1,000%.
And it's so lost on today's society. And they have every reason to know or every ability to educate themselves on anything automotive related. YouTube how to check your oil. YouTube how to change your brakes. YouTube how to change a tire. And no one will do it.
Nope.
I know.
No one will do it.
I know. And it's almost like a gratifying task that you could actually like subconsciously build some momentum for yourself,
100%.
knowing that you did. Not to compare it to like power washing, but power washing is one of those things like
you see different
it.
great.
Yeah, you're like, oh, dude, by the time you're done with that, you're like,
it's
oh,
so
man,
satisfying.
It really is. And it's like, dang, I did that myself. And it's like,
agree.
hey, I saved a few bucks, but I got that done.
I did that.
And sometimes, we really started this for like men's mental health and like helping guys navigate this new way of being a dad, the balance between the old school that we came up in and the new school, and trying to find that compromise. What kind of like really like monster things have you been through in your life that have got you to where you are?
So I guess the two biggest influence of my life is parents, right? Mom and dad. So lost my mom at a super early age. Not super early. I got into college, which was great. Appreciate that. She died in 2004. I got out of college 2002. So mom passed away from cancer.
You were what, like 24?
I was 23, 24, give or take.
Wow, what did those days look
years,
like?
So it was
man.
tough. So my mom was like she was the glue of the entire family. She like not just like my core family, but like my extended family, aunts and uncles and things like that. Prior to that, my grandparents passed away and all that stuff too. But she was the glue that kind of always pulled people together. She was the oldest of all the kids. Kind of kept it all together. So that was tough. But what was the nicest part about my mom is, again, she passed from cancer. She was home. She didn't die in a car accident. We had closure. I told her ahead of time I was going to be proposing to Jen. So she knew my life plan. So I got time with her to spend with her. So I felt lucky in that sense that I got to spend that time.
Yeah.
That became tough because everything at that point, we're still young kids. My dad was on his own when, having a dad that was kind of taken care of, he had to now take care of himself. So we were there with him. So that's a whole different world. And having to cook for himself, all that stuff. They were old school.
He's got to adapt.
He's got to adapt. And learn.
Yeah.
Great that we were there for him all the time. He was over our house all the time, all that good stuff. But he's got to adapt. But the biggest thing I saw from my dad was loneliness. Loneliness is a true thing. Like tough. Like to this day, it affects me more because now I'm looking back over all those years of all the things or the funny things I'm finding. Like I found we bought him a dash cam. And we're going through stuff, and I play, and he's driving. He's like talking, singing songs, and just talking crazy shit. He didn't know it was on and I'm just listening to him. Like it's his inner thoughts coming out. He's just saying
that's
crazy
pretty cool
shit.
That you have that.
It was cool, but like loneliness is a true thing. So like just being there for him, hanging out. Like we go shooting all the time and stuff like that. But still, having a companion is different than hanging out with your son.
Yeah,
right.
Companionship is huge.
Yeah, it really
so having
is.
those friends, to me, my group of friends. They're lifelong friends, which I know they'll be there for me till the day I die. I don't know if just because back in the day they moved from Saraville and everything, they didn't really have many friends. He had my friends' parents, but they would stop in there from time to time.
That's such an amazing point.
So keep your friend circle, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 10 guys. Loneliness is a true thing. I saw it happen to him.
Yeah.
But as soon as we had kids, that turned around, it brightened his day up.
I'm sure.
It was awesome. Like he got to spend time with Chase, and my sister has 4 kids.
Oh, cool.
So that helped things out too.
Yeah.
Kids always breathe a little bit of life into people.
Pick you back up.
Yeah, my grandmother was 91 when she passed away. When Max was born, she was in really bad shape. She refused to leave her house. She lived in Millburn up north, and we had a home health aide with her during the day. She, like I said, she refused to leave, refused to let anybody move in with her, like us. Max was born June 22nd. I start bringing him up every week, twice a week. We were going up, and finally I said, Graham, I'm going to move you down to Brandywine, which is right here in Howell. I said, and I promise you, you will see us every day. Mary will be there with Max. You'll get to see your great grandbaby, hold him. We will have dinners with you every day. I said, but this isn't sustainable. Yeah. I said, you're sitting in the house, you don't see any sunlight. All you do is sleep. I said, but when you're around the kid, you smile.
It's almost like that innocence again.
Yeah.
The innocence of what they have, it really recharges everyone around them. I told her, I said, if you're just sitting here waiting to die, and it was a sad conversation, but it was a conversation that had to be had. I said, if you're just sitting here waiting to die, then I'm not going to put the time into bringing Max up here and you to be miserable 23 out of 24 hours a day. I said, it's not viable. Yeah. And we got her down here, and she lived probably the last 9 months of her life
were amazing.
Nice.
Actually, Max saw the picture in my dad's office the other day. He was at work with me. Her 91st birthday party. He's in the picture. She's holding him in her wheelchair with her balloons that say 91. And
that's awesome.
You know, it breathed.
Even to see a great grandkid.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's great.
But it breathed so much more life. Now, I'm not saying she had a great existence in the end. I mean, she was 90, so let's remember.
But it gets her reinvigorated a little bit.
But she was happy. She was moving. She was up. She was taking pride in herself
her bloodline. So
exactly.
it's cool to see that.
And so my wife, I got to give her all the credit. She took that kid to Brandywine every day. 2 to 3 times a day, because she would go in the morning with him. She'd go after lunch, and then sometimes we would go back for dinner.
Oh, that's so
and it meant the world to her. So I understand when you say that helped your father.
Even the second, so it helped him for a great deal of time. You know, grandkids watching, he would just pop over, you know, bust our balls for a minute, be like, hey, and then just walk out. He would just drop in, which is cool, because he realized that he didn't want to be there all the time because we had our lives too. So he's like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and just be here because I know you guys need to run your life. So he didn't want to be. Yeah. You know, so he got it, which was great.
That's awesome.
And then my dad passed in 2020, COVID. He had a bunch of other stuff going on, but COVID was like the final nail. He was just done. But again, with my dad, it was great because I was by his side, you know, till the last second. So both of my parents, I was able to be with. Yeah. To last minute. I didn't lose them to a stroke, to a heart attack, where I didn't get to say goodbyes, things like that. And I asked both of them, you know, talk for both of them. 2 things I learned one from my mom, one from my dad. My dad told me, I was like, hey, you know, a couple hours ago, I was like, what's the secret? He goes, don't wait. Just don't wait. I was like,
don't wait.
That can mean so many different things, right?
It sure does.
Yeah,
so
but
that can be
right. That
so
is
many
the
different
secret.
things, right?
Yeah.
So that, and then my mom, going back to what you said earlier, Billy, about the easy things. She said, women like flowers. I was like, okay. And I was a dumb kid. So as I got older, you know, I'd be in a food store, just buy that $5.99 bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
Buy flowers for your wife. It's silly and stupid and simple.
I told you before. I gave my daughter $40 for the plant sale today.
The little things. It's the little things that matter to the wives and the patriarchs of family, and don't wait to the dads of the family. I feel like
that's awesome.
But those 2 pieces, I'm always intermeshing them.
Good.
And I just look at my day to day like that, you know.
Exactly.
And move along.
So I strongly agree with the don't wait, because I generally don't wait, and I'm very happy that I can say I don't feel unfulfilled. I feel like a lot of people question themselves, and they'll put off buying the car or buying the bicycle because they're second guessing themselves, or they're worried what other people are going to think, or whatever. You got to do for you, and you don't want to be left with that what if, or, you know, things as little as the bike. Like, I desperately wanted a BMX bike.
Yeah.
I let other people talk me out of it. I regretted it. My wife bought me the BMX bike. She went out, she got it, and it was the happiest thing.
Did you watch the episode about it?
Yeah. And
that's tremendous.
You know, don't wait. Just do what's going to make you happy, because there's so many things that are going to upset you. Yeah. You have to be smart enough to know that you need to make yourself happy.
There's a small part of me that feels like if something happened to me today, I'd be okay with the amount of time I spent with my family and kids. I was never like, oh man, I wish I did that with them. I feel okay if something would have happened. 2 other pieces that, you know, just something that I do. I should probably do it more now. So with the phone situation that came in, I had to get him an email address and all that good stuff. So I'll pop random emails out. He doesn't check his email. He's not into that yet. Right. So I'm throwing random emails out. Hey, how was your day today? So like it's building this thing of messages.
And he'll see it.
If I get rode by a truck tomorrow, he can go through messages.
Bro, that's awesome.
But where I learned that from is like the other piece from my mom is when she's diagnosed with cancer, she didn't know if she could make it, how bad it was going to be. So she wrote letters to myself, my sister, and my dad, and hid it in a Christmas box in the attic.
Oh, wow.
Mom passed that next year, and we opened up, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? We're reading through them, and she's like, really laughing at this? Or, you know, and individual notes to each one of us.
Wow.
Bro, having that, whether, you know, just have something to go back to. I still, from time to time, I'm going to, it's in a safe so it doesn't get all messed up. It's paper, handwritten. Go back, I'll read it from time to time.
Yeah.
Just to kind of recenter.
So,
exactly, you know? Recenter. That's tremendous.
Like that. Little things.
That's another one of the little things you're talking about.
Yep.
But that goes back to not waiting too, because on the opposite side of that, my father has unfortunately had a lot of health issues. And in the last 6 years, there have been 2 times where they told us he was not making it out of the hospital and he wasn't coming home. I had some things that I left unsaid between me and him. And I was able, both times there were periods where he wasn't able to speak to us. So I would send him a text message every night before bed, and they were lengthy, and it was everything I felt. Good. And I still have those messages in my phone. Like, it keeps all your stuff. Like, I don't delete messages. So I can go back to my
go all
messages
the way
with my
back.
dad. And every now and then I do that. And I do that and I get super emotional. Now, my father is still here.
Yeah.
And I hope he's here another 15 years, no matter what that quality of life is. Or I only want to improve that quality of life. But you got to say what you want. And when the chips are against it, you got to let people know you care. Even though, so I knew he wasn't going to read those messages. He's fucking zonked out in a coma. He's not reading them. But I had to get it off my chest.
Yeah.
And now I can read them to myself still. And I find comfort knowing that if he didn't come home, I did say what I needed to. And I hope that in an afterlife, he knows that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that's the shit
and
that counts.
we could take some of these really powerful situations and, kind of like what Mike's saying, like, last night after practice, we were laying down, and I just gave Mason a hug and a kiss. I said, I love you so much. You changed my whole life. But as you were just talking about your dad, I was picturing my dad getting quadruple bypass and going to Jersey Shore, and like all the feelings and emotion of like wanting to tell him everything, the unknowns of everything. Like, I was going there like every day.
It's heavy shit.
Yeah, the one day we had regions that Saturday morning, and I went and saw him. And like, he was just going in for like a routine stent, and he was like downplaying the whole thing. And then I saw him with quadruple bypass with this mask on, and I was just like, fuck, dude. It was like, I want to tell him everything now. So I want to be aware to make sure that I'm letting my kids know how much they mean to me and how much, all those amazing things. And I would love to do something like that. I said around Christmas time I was going to write my parents' handwritten notes, and I never did. It was my mom's birthday yesterday.
You know what I learned
might
today?
just get out of here and just do it.
Don't wait.
I might just write her a letter now.
Do it. Don't wait. Especially Mother's Day is around the corner.
Mother's Day too.
Your kids.
I know.
For your kids. So
exactly.
You can have ongoing one, right? Mm-hmm. So it's this day, and then a year later, this happened. Same idea.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing I have for my parents.
That's amazing.
Because you can always go back to that.
That's
you may have
amazing.
pictures,
I knew you were going to have great stuff for us today.
So I sent him a video that I save on my phone. It talks about death in a positive way, right? So it's something along the lines of, one day you will be a picture on a hallway where someone walks by and smiles or gets sad. Not saying that you're dying tomorrow, today, or you're sick, but one day. You will be gone. The people that love you are going to feel it. That's the reality of it. You will be missed, right? So make life matter today, tomorrow, and the next day, because we're all coming to an end, right?
Yeah. I know.
Whether it's around here in Route 9 or when I'm 80, 85.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, you have such, I keep using the word awareness, but we've had so many conversations on the weekends and whatnot, and like nights and different things, and you understand like how much time and sacrifice I've given, and like you'll hit me back with like, yo, dude, like get off your phone, go chill with your wife. Like you've said that to me so many times, like, just go.
He'll keep saying that back. Go away.
Yeah, go away. Go enjoy your family time. And I'm just like, no, you're right, dude. Yeah. You're right. It is so important. It is so powerful.
Right? Same thing with our lives. We get sucked into our daily lives, and we start forgetting, and then that's when that reset comes in. Where
I feel like I just got reset. Not to cut you off, I feel like I got a monster reset today.
Yeah, but you need that every now and then because like. Now, I see the flip side, and maybe I got to appreciate my mother more, and I talk to my mom 300 times a day.
Right, which ultimately can get to be annoying. No, but as bad as it sounds, it's like, Mom, I've heard you interact with her.
Mom. I can't call her.
That's what I was going to say.
I've heard you interact with her, though.
I love my mother. My mother knows that there's no end I won't go to for her. And she can call me 5,000 times a day.
Right.
Call number 4,500, I might start getting aggravated. But it happens. But I have to do a better job of appreciating those calls with her because I know those calls are not the same when my dad calls me. Like my dad.
It's different now.
It is. And you have to be able to enjoy the time you have now. My dad was perfect. Mm-hmm. And then, boom, major stroke.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been the same since. And we're
now you have a different version of him. The conversations 100%. Are different. The energy's different.
And as time's progressed in those
wasn't there an ambulance at your house not too long ago, too? They can have anyone at any time.
100%. But what I'm saying is and that's why I'm saying this, too, because I know the other side of that. That's where I'm happy to be here. And
that's why we ended up here in the first place.
But I woke up in that hospital IVs everywhere, and they're asking me if I have cancer because my white blood count was so elevated. They thought I was being treated for cancer. That's how bad the infection was in my body. And there were a lot of things that if I did pass away at that moment, that I had left unsaid.
You had some.
My
definitely
parents.
had some unturned rocks.
Yeah, like I had a lot of shit that I would have wanted to communicate to my mother and my father, and I've always wanted to be the best son I could be. But my dad walked off of a cruise ship, and 4 hours later collapsed in the bathroom. Major stroke. He could have came back if his treatment was faster, but it went undiagnosed for 12 days. And to the point that I almost got arrested at Central State day 9 because I told them I was taking him out of the hospital, and they called security. I said, he's coming with me, or he's going to leave here in a box because you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
But regardless, in that 6 years, some things have happened to him medically. He's older. He's had cancer a few times, heart attacks, COVID, whatever. It's been a progression for him, and if you wait, you'll never get to appreciate what you have today.
100%.
Because tomorrow it's not going to be the same. And through my own family and my own views, I realize that. And I'm happy to hear that you align with that, because not waiting and
I love
enjoying and writing to your kids. And
I love it. My mom's getting a handwritten letter.
That's it.
Her birthday was yesterday, Mother's Day, but I'm going to write it out of here. I think you should give Joanne a call once we leave.
She knows.
And just give her a
We've
call.
had many combos.
Give her a call today
Yeah.
and just let her know. Because just like you're saying, tomorrow, it could be the same. It could be the same thing with her. Like, we never know. So if it's on your mind and on your heart,
you'll never
thanks
let it
to
down.
Mike,
the last
deliver
2 weeks, she knows that she's my primary concern. We had a care conference for my father.
Yeah.
And I sat down, she asked me to come, and I told her very clearly, I told the doctors, I said, I'm not here for my father. I said, I'm here to advocate for my mother to have a better quality of life.
Because
and that's
Mike's the
medically
Matt
and
tape.
everything. That's medically, you want the son angle.
Yeah, because Mike's the Matt tape of the wrestling program. Your mom's the Matt tape of the family.
150%, but she needs to be good mentally.
If she is so torn in so many different directions, carrying the weight of everybody, she's the one that needs it almost more than your
100%.
dad. Your dad is taken care of. Everybody's giving him his 100% attention.
100%.
Coming here, you got all these people there. Everyone's facilitating for you guys.
And she's not taking care of herself. She's not sleeping at night because she's worried about it.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Would you be able to sleep?
No,
I wouldn't.
Fuck no, especially
she's carrying everything.
Somebody.
I know.
100%.
She's carrying everything.
It's mom mode.
It's tough.
Exactly. That mom mode is such a blessing, though.
We should bring our mothers on one day.
That would be amazing.
I think that would be really cool.
Like, our moms combined, let's do that.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of talking
That'd be
about.
fun.
Next week. We have somebody next week. We could have done like a Mother's Day episode.
Z-Bone.
No, next week
Z-Bone.
we have
That's
booked.
June.
That's
June.
June.
Here, I'll tell you right now. I have it in my phone.
Yeah, I was just looking at it earlier.
There better be flowers on this table if moms are
That's
coming.
what I mean. Well, all the moms are getting flowers Sunday morning. I know. Oh, Coach Morris. Coach Morris. Yeah, so that's going to be amazing. I don't know what everybody's plan is. Sunday, we should come over here and get the moms on. I love for them to give our viewers the real
just
life.
even if they just came in and said hi and
my mom would
introduced
be
themselves.
ripping on me.
They're going to come in with a notebook of
Yeah,
stories.
exactly.
Oh, God,
She'd
my
be like,
mother
this
embarrassed
kid
the shit
picked his
out of
nose
me.
till
You'll be
third
on the
grade,
couch.
you know?
And
Yeah.
But even if they just came on and said hi, I feel like that would maybe give them a little bit of spotlight that they so necessarily deserve.
So necessarily deserve.
Yeah, that
I
would be
know.
nice.
I know. Well, I was actually just talking to my mom yesterday, and she's been battling pneumonia for like weeks. But basically, she goes so hard to the point that her body just
That's
like
what
breaks
took
down.
me
all
out,
the
bro.
time,
That's
you know?
what took me out.
It happens to her all the
But
time.
that's mental
She's
stuff, physical,
Yeah,
that's
it's
everything,
everything. It's everything. My grandma has been up in Bayonne for years in a facility. My mom has 7 other siblings. Aside from her, there's 8 total. My mom is with my kids all the time, with my grandma all the time. She burns the candle at both ends all the time. But my Aunt Dari, who's a nun, my grandma's sister, is going to Europe in a few weeks. She invited my mom. And, my dad's saying, oh, you're not feeling well. I'm like, Ma, you need to go. You need to go.
Pack
you
it
need
up.
to go.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I think my new job is going to be just traveling with other people. I'm like, yeah, do it. Just go on the trip. Just go on the trip. So
Take
I'm pretty
the
sure
trip.
she's going. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do it now.
Yeah.
To Mike's point,
Don't
do it
wait.
now.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Do it now. Nike.
That should be the
that's-
title
just do
of
it.
this episode.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
But don't forget,
Don't
the
wait.
don't wait thing is not just, go on trips.
No, it's
everything. It's doing things like just going for a walk with your kid. Just getting out there and doing things.
I think going for a walk with your kid is the most important thing that you've said, because you could put off, your kid is there every day, and sometimes you look at them and you're like, I don't really want to hang out with this asshole.
You can almost take the kids for granted, like you could take the grandparents for granted.
150%.
You know, with the same thing, when you're so used to everything,
and it's easy to have resentment for your kids
too. The kids
too.
don't always talk what's on their mind either until they get into a vulnerable state. They keep. I did when I was a kid. I'll never forget. I'll have it all in.
I'm really hoping that I can keep that uncle role with Chase, that I could be that.
He talks about you all the time.
I hope that I could be that conversation that if it's too tough for mom and dad, he feels that comfort with me that he could say, hey, this is what's going on.
Because he always thinks that, he knows that we have the best interest for him in mind, but like if he hears it from an outsider, he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Mom and dad have to say they're proud of me. Mom and dad have to love me. Also, we get in a fight sometimes. I'm like, I have to love you. I don't have to like you. That was a comment from
my dad used to tell me all the time.
For sure.
But hearing from other people, that's like, oh,
for sure.
That's real.
You'll have that. You'll have that effect on a lot of people.
I thankfully have.
Yeah, you're just a person you
have, which is such a blessing.
Yeah.
Because I almost longed for that. Not that I needed an uncle, like my uncles are always super chill, but I almost needed like a third party that I could just be like brutally honest with. Like even if like, I'm fucking up.
Though. You had that in Bobby
that was
Walsh.
later.
Yeah.
I was 28. And that was huge.
But he probably gave you the example
I like
to be today.
This person in these ages that you're really trying to figure it out. But we didn't really have the phones back then. We didn't really have
It was different.
Face to face wasn't
and I think it was and I had great coaches.
Yeah.
We're coming up on 20 years of our lacrosse team, like winning the division. So Coach Gibb, was one of those guys for me, and he was amazing. But I like to be that person because I have like Mike has such awareness on different things. I have this innate awareness on like these in betweens, these teenage years. They're weird, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was weird for me, dude. I was in middle school. You got a few different groups, a few different cliques. I kind of was the hybrid. I'd wear like a Slim Shady shirt with Jenkos,
North Pole
trying to be cool with everybody, Where it's like they're hard years.
Yeah.
They're hard years. So thankfully, I have that awareness that I can be that person. Even college and after college, I'm thankful that those kids are still reaching out to me all the time.
So to that point, one thing I definitely want to talk about, Ted, real quick is high school, middle school, all that good stuff, right? I was right down the middle. I was kind of friends with everyone. I wasn't, super popular. I wasn't on the sports scene. I was just right down the middle. I was that average kid. And I think today with parents pushing sports hard and, a lot of kids are being pushed to do extra schooling, the Kumon program, trying to do best again. It's okay to be average.
It sure is.
All of my sports, just the wrestling. I started in high school, which again, like I said, my name's not on walls.
Right.
I don't have any accolades to myself. I did wrestling. I did football for a season. Things here and there, but like that helped groom me to be the middle of the road guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I ended up with a great job. I ended up with a great family.
That's the thing.
Guess what? It's okay to be average.
Your sports
and nobody
career
feels like that can.
Well, most people are average and
your
don't want to
sports
acknowledge
career
that.
may have been average, but you are an absolutely above average human being.
As a friend, a father.
That's what I mean. You are not
without,
average at all.
But all of that built.
Yeah.
Dude,
you were doing a freaking handstand last night. I didn't know you could do a handstand.
I
didn't know you could do a handstand, dude.
The more you know.
Sometimes the savage is the quiet one. Yeah, you're right.
I didn't want to hurt Shane the other day, so I was like, I'm not going to go.
I didn't want to hurt him. Yeah, all right. Now he's full of shit.
Shane's a good kid.
He's an amazing kid. He's an amazing kid, and that's been such a blessing have him back in my life too. And
I know you made it. He's told me you've had such a strong influence and positive impact on him.
Well, I have to go get Mason, but between Eric Cossian, my first year at Howell, I was 1 year alcohol free when I first started coaching at Howell, or maybe even not. I stopped drinking. Next week is going to be 9 years, so I stopped drinking in May, and then wrestling's a winter sport. So I think the timeline was about 6 months, but I was still trying to navigate life without alcohol and going to different things. And Friday's always a big drinking day, and we started the Friday group, and Eric Cossian was almost in the back of my. I already removed alcohol, but I wasn't gonna go drink on Thursday night and wrestle Eric on Friday. I wasn't gonna drink on Sunday and wrestle Eric on Monday. Right. Yeah. It was just like So yes, I have done a lot for the kids, which is amazing. These kids don't understand how much good they've done for me simultaneously.
Yeah.
It gave me somewhere to be. It gave me purpose. It gave me community. You know, my job is very on me.
Yeah.
And human beings don't do well when it's just on you.
Nope.
This community that I've been able to help has helped me more than I could even explain.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
It's a two-way street.
All right, you got to go get Mace?
Got to get Mace.
All right, so I guess we'll end there. Guys, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Click the links, like, share, comment, and any questions, please feel free to reach out via email. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.